Sure. Again, as always, appreciate you guys coming out today. Start with just a quick look back at Nebraska. The thing that jumps out to me is the team showed great resiliency throughout the course of the game, and a lot like the last 4 weeks where we hit a little turbulence. We found a way to win that game, and to me, that was the biggest thing I took from it. It was much needed. I can tell you that the locker room and being able to get back on the winning track rejuvenated that locker room, and it's a testament to the players, their ability to continue to fight through even when things aren't going well. It's kind of what I thought this team had in it. This team has faced a lot of adversity throughout the course of my time here, and for them to fight through and find a way to get a gritty, tough win on the road against a really good Nebraska team in a great environment is testament to the players. I'm pleased with the mindset the team had going into it. When you're on a 4-game losing streak, it's easy to get caught up in all the external things that are said. We tried to bunker in and focus on the things that we could control, and I think it showed up on Saturday. Our defense played lights out. Obviously to turn the ball over the way we did and still win the turnover battle is a testament that our defense did a really good job attacking the football, and not one time when we put them in harm's way with our turnovers did they ever back down. I felt like they got stronger, but really pleased with the way this team gutted out a tough road win. Moving on to Michigan, obviously this is a tremendous opportunity for our program. A top 5 team coming in here, the reigning champion of the Big Ten, extremely talented team. Had the last 2 days having the opportunity to watch, all 3 phases, and they're one of those teams that it isn't one player that kind of the marquee guy. They've got a bunch of really good players that seem to play well together, and that's what jumps out on the tape. I got a lot of respect for them. Obviously, they're going through some of their own issues, and for 18 to 22-year-olds to be able to kind of compartmentalize and stay focused on the task at hand, which they were able to do last week up in State College, which is a tough place to play and win, shows the type of team that they've developed over there. We need to go into this game with confidence, which, anytime you win, it helps your confidence. I think our team is excited about this opportunity. I mean, very few times in your career do you get to have what I call a breakthrough type of game. And, what a breakthrough this would be for our program, for us to put it all together this week, show up Saturday and execute and play a damn near perfect game. Our players don't have to play above their ability to win this game. We just have to play to our ability, and I feel confident that we'll get our guys prepared to do that come Saturday. Our game captains this week, we're going with 4. Talia Tungavailoa, Jay Sean Jones on offense, and then Ruben Hippolyte and Tarheeb Steele on defense. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Hey, Mike, what do you do to keep you guys focused on what's going on between the lines, given, as you mentioned, all that's swirling around with Michigan? Do you tell them, no, stay off social media, don't flip on the TV? I mean, it's kind of human nature to be curious a little bit what's going on over there.
Yeah, I mean, 18 to 22-year-olds are going to do what they do. I mean, they live in the information world. But as we've learned around here, none of that has anything to do with us. And it's not any of our business what's going on up at Michigan. We need to really focus on the things that we can control and the things that we have to do. And, I mean, our standard is to, again, worry about the Terps and make sure that we put the best version of the Terps out on the field, executing the things we need to get executed. What's going on up in Ann Arbor has nothing to do with us.
As far as the seniors go, it's contributed so much to the program. Kind of what's your initial thought about what the game's going to mean for them?
Yeah, I mean, it's always emotional. The last home game, last opportunity for a bunch of guys that have been through a lot during their time here. And again, as I told them, what a great opportunity to end your career here in the shell against a reigning champion, Big Ten champion, a top 5 team, top 4 team. What a great opportunity and a great story to tell. your kids down the road if, we can put it all together. And there's no doubt that this group is deserving of this opportunity. And, I'm excited to see them go out and play to their ability this Saturday.
Mike, building off Gene's question, this senior class came here in interesting times, pandemic and everything, as you're trying to get things up and rolling. How important is this class, not just the guys who have been here since day one, but a lot of the transfers? How important has this class been to your building of this program?
Yeah, this class definitely has a bunch of guys that got on the train before we became a team that's going to 3 straight bowl games. They got on board with the vision of where we wanted to take the program and really bought into all the things that we've tried to do to build our program. So there's no doubt that this group of seniors, they're the pandemic babies. They're the guys that kind of came in, didn't take official visits during COVID, still made the decision to come here before we started the uptick in our program and have all played huge roles in how we've been able to get to where we're a program now for, 3 straight bowl games. Part of their resume is a huge thing, especially around here. I think there's only been 4 other coaches that have had this opportunity, or 3 other coaches that have had the opportunity to get to 3 straight bowl games, and it's all about these players and the seniors.
Michigan defensively leads the Big Ten against the pass.
Everything.
Again, yardage, scoring, their top 3 rushing. What is it that makes them so special, and what sort of pressure does a defense like that do to the offense that you've got, what you know that you have?
Yeah, I mean, they don't. I mean, we know Chris Jenkins Jr. is a star in the making. He's one of those guys in our league that when you put the tape on, he flashes. They've got a good corner, the Johnson kid, really talented players, 2 talented linebackers. But you look across the board, and this team plays really well together. Like, it's not one shining star that kind of sets them apart. I mean, they are a well-oiled machine, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They play really sound. They don't make a lot of mistakes, meaning you are going to have to execute at a really high level. And for me, that's kind of been our Achilles heel, is the lack of execution, especially in critical times. And so for us, we haven't had that one game yet where I felt like we put all 3 phases together. We all played that perfect game, and what would be a better opportunity to do that than to do it against a team like Michigan here at home.
Mike, in light of what that's going on with Michigan, have you addressed any changes of your signs or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, once we heard that 2-3 weeks ago, we made a lot of the necessary adjustments. Because if one has them, as you read and hear, anybody can have them. And so we've taken necessary precautions to just make sure that, again, what we can control, on offense, defense, we've definitely mixed up our communications and how we're able to do it. And so, we don't feel like that will have any effect on our game.
Is that a difficult process because guys kind of get into a routine?
It is what it is. I mean, playing Michigan is a difficult process, but it's on the schedule and we play them. So we do the work, whatever's necessary to give us a chance to compete. So, yeah, we got it done.
My last question is, in light of some of the penalties from last Saturday, what's your level of concern about some of the penalties, particularly
I'm glad you asked me about, man, these penalties. So we were 22nd in the country in penalties, and all I hear every time we get a penalty is how undisciplined we are and how undisciplined this team is, and I ain't buying it. Every week I turn in plays to the Big Ten, and I'm not going to get fined, but I'm going to tell you, and you guys need to hear it, just because they throw a flag does not mean that it was actually a penalty. I mean, in the game it counts, but, I'm not going to buy it. This team is a disciplined team. We just get, I don't know how, why, or what, but things don't go our way. And, I've been on the phone with Bill Carolla a couple of times the last couple of weeks. Am I disappointed? No doubt. I don't like our guys getting penalties. I don't like our guys, doing the things. I always talk about non-competitive penalties. Those are the ones I have a problem with. But I'm not going to have that label of being undisciplined put on these guys, because these players have good discipline.
Mike, I'm curious if you've ever been a part of a game or seen a game before with 32 straight rushing plays by one team, and I guess what kind of message did that send to your defensive front about the challenge that they're facing this weekend?
You know, every game, when you game plan, you have to decide what you need to do to win the game, and obviously that's what they felt they had to do a week ago to win. How they going to attack us, we need to figure that out. I know that, you know, they have the ability to attack you in a number of ways. They've got a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback, really talented skill. They've got reigning two-time Joe Moore O-line, offensive line, 2 straight years. So really talented. And so, you know, to have the ability to do both really well, that's kind of what we've worked toward to try to get our offense to be like. But we got to be prepared for the run. We got to be able to stop the pass. We don't know how they're going to attack us, but we'll find out Saturday at noon, and we got to be prepared to make the necessary adjustments and do the things we can to kind of make them one-dimensional.
Hey, Coach. You call this a breakthrough game. What would a win this weekend do to, you know, kind of establish yourself in this conference and also erase, you know, the previous 4 games when you ultimately reflect and look back on the season?
The past has nothing to do with what happens on Saturday. The last 4 games have no bearing on Saturday, and we all need to realize that. Every game is its own entity, and now at the end of the year, you can kind of go back and talk about the season as a whole, but for us, this is a one-game season against a really talented team. We know that they're talented, but I can tell you we're talented too. We don't always play smart, and that's my job, to get us to play better and to play smarter, to be more efficient and execute at a higher level, which, you know, we're going to put the work in this week, and you know what, we'll see how it unfolds on Saturday.
Coach, with the penalties, the non-competitive, there were a couple non-competitive ones against Nebraska. Are those plays that you're saying were incorrectly called?
I'm not going to get into it, Varun. I told you, you can maybe call the Big Ten and ask them, but we turn in plays, and all I know is when I turn in certain plays that were flagged as penalties, I get a message back that shouldn't have been called, or it should have been called this way. So, yeah.
And then I wanted to ask about Jack Howes and the kick he made. What was that like for you to see? You know, he's had some struggles early in the year, but to see him make that field goal.
Jack's a young kicker that is going to be really, really talented. He's got a lot of football left in him. Did not have one hesitation about whether or not he'd make that kick. He does it in practice. You know, we put him in some tough situations earlier in the year where, you know, as a young kicker, I have a lot of faith and confidence in him. And he came through big for us. That was a huge kick for a young kicker.
Coach, being able to snap the losing streak, have you felt a little bit of maybe a looseness in the program this week, or getting a little bit of a monkey off your back?
Not at all. You know, you guys don't make my life comfortable, so not at all.
Hey, Coach. I know you touched on it post-game, but just the rushing attack for them to kind of step up in the second half. All 101 yards came in that second half, but just to kind of see that in obviously conference play, what does that kind of do for the offense, and I guess what are you trying to do to continue that momentum going into Michigan?
Yeah, you know, as I always talk about this balance thing, you know, being able to run the ball and some of the plays that we made in the running game, in the critical part of that game against Nebraska was important. You know, probably one of the best runs came with Leah checking us to an outside zone to the field, the long run Roman had. You know, our quarterback is able to get us in the right looks, get us to the right plays versus the different looks we saw. I thought Roman did a really good job of running the ball physical. Our offensive line, you know, it wasn't pretty. You know, as you look at the scoreboard throughout the course of the game, and you see the rushing yards are at 0, and it's like, but we kept trying to run the ball. We kept pounding it, and by the second half, you know, with some of the tempo things we did, we feel like maybe we got to where we warmed down enough. And then we were able to get the ball downhill and make the necessary plays in critical situations, which we hadn't done in, you know, the last few weeks.
I guess, what does it mean to have, I guess, big noon kickoff in College Park this weekend, and like to maybe tell students to stay around through at least Saturday instead of heading out a little bit early for Thanksgiving next week?
You know what? That's above my pay grade. I don't care if it's one person in the stand, as long as the scoreboard turns on and we got the refs there. I know Michigan will be there and we'll be there. All this other external things, I mean, it's great for our campus to be able to attract national media here, but I'm more concerned about the product on the field. If our students, they've been great all year long. They've shown up when some of our alums and regular fans haven't. They've been there. Hopefully they find that as something that they want to do, but if they choose to go home early, that's okay. We're going to still play.
Just the buzz around campus.
Yeah,
after-
we'll still play.
Yes, we-
Watch it on TV, stream it. We'll be all right.
I guess I did have another one. How can you
Okay.
build off Saturday's win to close out the season strong now that you got that 6th win?
Yeah, getting a 6 was huge, because for me, it lets us extend our season, and I'm always big on those extra practices that you get when you are getting ready for a bowl game are invaluable in terms of what they do for your program. And so getting the 6 allowed us to focus now on the next season, the next one-game season, and it's a pretty important one against a really talented team. I know Michigan plays Ohio State after us, so they've got a big game after us, so be interesting to see how they approach it.
Thank you, Coach. You have a target still.
Thanks.